Over the past months, much of our focus has been on laying the groundwork for long-term change, rebuilding trust, and strengthening our justice institutions from within. This includes reducing the immigration backlog, making significant progress on the final batches of LBAs, deepening our regional and international partnerships, and advancing the construction of our new prison facility in collaboration with our partners. At the same time, we're accelerating our rehabilitation efforts because we cannot wait for a new building to give people a fair chance at rehabilitation and reintegration. This week, I'll be meeting with the team behind Turco Sta Possible in Aruba, a program that reflects our vision for humane and effective rehabilitation. The goal is to continue the dialogue and explore how these EU-funded initiatives can be implemented locally, either independently or in conjunction with our existing partnerships with the UNODC. These conversations are part of a broader effort to expand rehabilitation and reintegration pathways, especially for our young adults between the ages of 18 and 30. As we continue this work, we're also preparing to mark an important moment of reflection and recognition, Justice Week 2025, which is taking place from July 11th to July 17th. This year's theme, We Are Justice, is a powerful reminder that justice isn't upheld by institutions alone, but by the people who serve within them every single day. I invite the public to join us in honoring the men and women who serve within our justice system. These individuals are more than just staff or the titles that they carry. They are the quiet strength behind our institutions. They show up day after day, even when the resources are very limited and the work is very difficult. They carry the weight of justice on their shoulders, and they do so with integrity, with resilience, and with a deep sense of duty. So, if you know a justice worker, or if you see one in passing, I encourage you to say something. A simple thank you, a word of encouragement, or even a moment of acknowledgement can go further than you even can realize. Let them know that their service is seen and that they are valued. That we, as a community, recognize the sacrifice and the strength that it takes to do the work that they do, and that they are not alone in carrying this weight. Justice Week is a call to reflect on the people who uphold the system, the kind of justice we want to build, and the role each of us plays in strengthening it. As I reflect on my 8 months of service, I'm reminded that justice cannot thrive in isolation. It must remain in constant conversation with the people that it serves. Every visit, every briefing, every moment spent listening has deepened my understanding of what this ministry must continue to stand for. I am proud to serve alongside those who carry this work forward and with heart and conviction. To help strengthen the connection with the public, the ministry will soon roll out a dedicated line of communication where individuals can submit questions and reflections. I look forward to addressing these directly, whether during press briefings or through our official channels, because staying connected to the people that we serve is essential to building a meaningful ministry of justice.
Are you SXM insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXM is cardless. Request your My SXM account today and enter the virtual office of SXM. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
SXM, yeah, your social health insurances.
24/7 TV programming on www.stmartinmediacenter.com. SXM Daily News, PBS NewsHour, Now You Know, comm programs, documentary, entertainment, sports events, Saturday children's hours, religion programs, and movies. Click on SXM TV broadcast to see your favorite programs.
Took note of the statements you made about backlogs and your introduction. But I'd like to ask you, Minister, who exactly changed the intake procedures at IND? Because in the past, intake, people would, the ministry, with the department would only take a file if it's completed based on the list that they provided. Say, well, you have to get X amount of documents. Unless you have all those documents, they never took the files. Today, what we're seeing, files are submitted, and then a year later, people are told documents are missing. This is what I believe created the backlog. Have you done an audit to make sure that procedures that were in place, that are still in place, and are being executed? Another thing I'd like to ask you, Minister, and just last week or the week before, I brought this to your attention, and thankfully it has been solved. But what about those people that didn't go to you or never know that they could reach you to get their problems solved? And this is about the overcharging or double charging of people that submitted for residency permit, even for Dutch citizens that are trying to re-register on St. Martin are having to wait a whole year, and they're either double charged or overcharged. And then when they ask back for their money, then they're not getting the money. In the case that I brought to you, I want to publicly thank you that a credit note was issued, but it took almost a year. I'm trying to figure out, how is this possible? Have you done an audit? Have you checked into this? And to lessen the backlog, to get it smaller, have you decided at some point that I will go back to the original intake procedures?
So a couple different things. The first part is, indeed, I know that matter was resolved that you had brought to my attention. So I'm happy to hear it confirmed as well. But I knew on my end that the credit note was issued. When it comes to the procedures, indeed, some of the things that we're seeing is these incomplete applications. That part of that is also the system that we're using, that online portal, because people are able to upload blank documents, incomplete documents, and the system is not able to filter that out. So that is also one of the reasons that I've said from the beginning that we're working towards getting rid of the current system that we have for that online platform that we're using and going over to a different system. We are aiming to have that launched in the month of August, actually. So we're making good progress on changing to a new system. And then I'm hoping in some of the little things that I've noticed where maybe the system is contributing to the backlog, that we're hoping to build into that new platform ways that we can catch these different issues. So that's one thing. When it comes to matters of integrity within the immigration department, I take those very seriously. And in terms of audits, I am looking into discrepancies and things that are going on. However, I'll also take this moment maybe to urge the public when things are happening to report them. Because we have a lot of times, and I understand, people are in vulnerable positions when it comes to your immigration status, but we hear the stories, but nobody is coming forward and reporting them to the authorities. And then it's very difficult for us as a ministry to take disciplinary measures, to take criminal measures, if people are not coming out to report. So I want to urge anybody, if there are things happening, to come forward and report those things. Please go file a report at the police, go to the Landsrecherche, and make those things known. But we are looking into it because, for me, I take it very seriously that we provide a service to the public, and I think we need to be better in the service that we provide. And it shouldn't be that people have to know people or that you have to pay people in order for you to get your things done. And that is something that I very much hope that in my term as minister that I'm able to clean up this ministry, not just the immigration department, but the ministry as a whole. And I think that other ministers have the same thoughts for their ministry. I heard the Minister of Romy make some statements recently as well about things going on there. So again, I urge the public to come out and speak because, again, you shouldn't have to pay for the things that the government should provide to you. So those are, I think, in a nutshell, yes, we are looking into it, and I am taking those things very seriously.
Can I get a follow-up, Rulaika?
Sure, Bibi, go right ahead.
Regarding persons that apply for example, a work permit, VSI would issue that work permit.
Yeah.
But then you have those very people, in order for those, for example, for foreign workers, they apply for work permit, they get the work permit. But then in order for them to come here and start working, especially if the person is off island, they have to get a landing permit and a residence permit. This takes as much as 6 months. What's the holdup? Because all the documents to process the work permit was submitted by labor as well as immigration. But yet there's a bottleneck somewhere.
Yeah.
How do you plan to address it?
Yeah, we are looking at that, and we're trying to make an inventory of where the issues are. And there's a part of me that doesn't rule out that the backlogs are of people's own making. But, we're looking into those things and seeing how we can improve those processes. I've urged immigration to work more as a team, not so much divided amongst themselves, and you are in that department and I am in this department, because at the end of the day, you're all working through the same file. So we're looking at ways to improve this, but we're hoping at least that, again, with this new system, that we're able to build in some safeguards and try and start to figure out what is really happening over there and why some files are moving and some files are not. So those are things that we're really trying to get to the bottom of. And also improve, again, the law says 4 months, and we really want to start staying within that. Especially for me as a lawyer, the law says a thing, we need to meet that. So we're really trying to improve, and the backlogs are decreasing, but again, we're still not where we need to be, but we are making progress.
Thank you, Minister Tacklin. I would now like to invite Stephen Cerulean of PG82 Radio. You have the floor.
Thank you, Ms. Roach. Good morning to you, Deputy Prime Minister. Minister of Justice, good morning to you as well. My question is for you, Minister of Justice. I think during the last press conference, you made mention or made reference to prisoners being held at various correctional institutions or facilities in the Netherlands, and the budget associated with keeping them there. Can you give us an idea, if you may, Minister, as to how many prisoners are currently being held in the Netherlands, and of those, how many are females, and what crimes did they committed?
I don't know the number of the number that we have currently in the Netherlands. At some point, we received 12 spaces in the Netherlands, so we had room for 12. I don't know that it's still 12, because of course, when those people qualify for early release, then they come back. So, and right now we have some court cases going on where individuals would like to return back to St. Martin. So it was 12 at some point. I would have to follow up to see what the actual number is right now. None of the inmates being held in the Netherlands are females. They're all men. And in terms of the types of crimes, some of our more heavy criminals are the ones for security reasons, for example, that are being held in the Netherlands. I won't mention names here, but it's typically ones with long sentences, or that the ones that were involved in very heavy crime over here, that for safety reasons sometimes too we've also sent them over there. There's a groups when it comes to there was lack of space, sometimes it was safety or medical reasons. That's why. So we have different regulations with the Netherlands called we have like a ORD, and the ORD is based on different either medical lack of space, and basically we have to run through those. So right now we have housed in the Netherlands. I know it wasn't your question, but of course we still have some inmates in Bonaire currently as a result of the prison crisis. But that was the agreement, was that would just be temporary for 2 months, and then they would return to St. Martin.
If I may, can you give us an idea as to what's the percentage of the prison population is female?
Off the top of my head, I believe right now we have 80 men and we have 4 women, 5 women maybe.
And crimes ranges?
One person was just released, so that's why I said it was 6 at the time of the prison fire, but I believe now we're at 5.
And for women, Minister, what are the crimes committed by them?
It's let me say, I'll go back to when it was 6. I'll be honest in saying the women that we have locked up in Point Blanche, if they were men, they would not be in jail for the same crimes. In the sense of we have space because, of course, we have a separate section for the women. What we're seeing, the women tend to have lesser sentences, is 18-month sentences, 2-year sentences, which, given the capacity issues for men, we don't typically, lock them up for that. What we see is, I think most of them, I think we have 2 ladies in there for drug trafficking. One was a human smuggling case, and then we do have 1 person who is in there for murder. But for the other ones, it's typically those types of crimes. Like I said, if they were men, given the decisions that we have to make very often because of the space, they likely wouldn't be in jail.
Are you SXV insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXV is cardless. Request your My SXV account today and enter the virtual office of SXV. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
SXV, yeah, your social health insurances.
24/7 TV programming on www.stmartinmediacenter.com, SXM Daily News, PBS NewsHour, Now You Know, com programs, documentary, entertainment, sports events, Saturday children's hours, religion programs, and movies. Click on SXM TV broadcast to see your favorite programs.
So the next conditions remain right. The storm continue to intensify. What happens next? It becomes a hurricane. Once the winds hit 74 miles per hour and higher, it's now a hurricane. Okay? So the stage 1, tropical wave or tropical disturbance. Stage 2, tropical depression. Stage 3, tropical storm, and 4, you have a full-blown hurricane. Now, when it's a hurricane, we have categories. Now, it's called the Saffir-Simpson scale. It's a scale that is used to measure the hurricane by the winds, not by the rain that it produces or anything else, but the winds. And some damage criteria has been attached to it, but the scale is more or less for the winds. So we have category 1. You can see what the winds are. It creates moderate, just a big tree, the branch would break. If you have light shingles on your house, it would blow away. Category 1, not so strong. Then it moves to category 2. Extensive damage, a little more damage. Once it hits 3, we have major hurricanes. So 1 and 2 is not that major. When you hear them talking about a major hurricane, it's either category 3, 4, or 5. Now, when we get to 5, some people said Irma was a category 6, a category 7, a category 8. There is no 6, 7, or 8. Anything with winds above 156 is category 5. There is no category 6 or 7 or 8. Okay? It stops at 5. Okay. It can be 200 miles an hour. It's a 5. All right. Now, this is the structure of a hurricane, how it is formed. The center, everybody should know what the center is called, right? The eye. Does that mean it can see you? No. The center is called the eye, and in the eye, everything is calm. If you have already witnessed a landfall of a hurricane, when the eye reaches over you, everything stops, everything goes quiet. You can see the blue sky at that time. But after that, what happens? Yes. So what is happening is that before the hurricane comes over your island, the center reaches, you would have this section. When the eye reaches over you, everything clear. And then what you would witness after the eye would be the other parts. So the eye wall is this, the areas that are very close around the eye. That is where you have the strongest winds and the heaviest rainfall. Okay? So the eye wall is very, very rough. And another thing again, the north of the eye is also very strong. It is stronger than the south. So for example, if this hurricane is passing over your island and you are going to feel the northern part, you will feel it stronger than somebody living down here. Okay? Then we have the spiral bands. Sometimes a hurricane is 200, 300 miles away from you. It's not even in your area. And one of these little bands just fall over your island and it floods you. These bands have a lot of rainfall and they tend to stick around. They just rest there and they just pour the rain. So these spiral bands are very dangerous as well. I put the map of St. Martin on there with a hurricane underneath. So the center would be around here. Okay, so I'm saying the center, let's presume the center is right here, and here is between Colombia, I think that is on French side, and St. Peter's. So Colombia and St. Peter's would be calm because the eye is over them. But you living in Dutch Quarter, you would be around the eye, which is the eye wall. So you would be experiencing strong winds, whilst people in St. Peter's would be like, nothing happening, man. Okay? And over here, remember I said north of the eye is stronger than the south of the eye. So these people in Rambo and New Orleans, French Quarter, they would be receiving stronger winds than people down here. The lines that I drew is the direction of the winds. You know when during a hurricane, you hear one side of the house pounding. And when the eye passes, then you hear the winds coming from the other side. Right. So here, if you are in Rambo, you would feel the winds would be coming from that direction. And the same hurricane, you know. If you are living down here, the winds will be coming from the north. And if you are here, the winds will be coming from the west. And if you are here, Oyster Pond, the winds coming from the south. Okay? Because the winds in a hurricane in our hemisphere spin anti-clockwise. It goes like this. Okay? Yeah. So in the southern hemisphere, people in Australia, their hurricane spin the other way around. It spins clockwise. But in our hemisphere, the winds spin anti-clockwise. So you would understand if somebody is living in Point Blanche and somebody is living in the Dutch Quarter, after hurricane, they would tell you they experience different things. Okay? The impacts, we know them very well. If you live near the coast, you have to deal with storm surge. People at Bacon Hill and people at Oyster Bay and even in Phillipsburg. Storm surge can go as high as 20 feet, as tall as a telephone pole or a utility pole. And they can do great damage. They can move into the land and cause a lot of flooding. We also have heavy rainfall. Heavy rainfall is another impact that is associated. Different hurricanes respond differently. Some hurricanes produce a lot of rainfall, others don't produce a lot. You remember Irma? There was not much rainfall at all with Irma. Yes, the wind was stronger. So some hurricanes have a lot of rainfall, some have less. Some have more winds, and so on. And we have the winds to deal with. Winds can be very damaging. With very strong hurricanes, they can have small tornadoes in there that would spill a lot of destructions. After a hurricane, you would see like one little area, all the houses went down there, and this little house there stood there because a tornado within the hurricane itself spun on that side and caused that destruction. Okay, and tornadoes come from the cloud downwards. Okay, so it is called a tornado because it touches land. Some time ago, I remember earlier this year, there was some instability over St. Martin and we had a funnel cloud. Now a funnel cloud is those that are over the water. So the cloud comes down, spinning, and it touches the water. That's a water spout or funnel cloud.